This is a quick tutorial for building a spliced line for your RC Skydiver or RC Paraglider. I use a 100 mm scale. The purpose of that is to develop a 20 mm loop right here in the middle. So at 0, I make marks with a Sharpie on my line, which you should be able to see those marks at 30, 50, 70, and 100 mm. The purpose of doing that is it will end up, when we splice this together, that we will end up with a 20 mm loop right here in the center. So what I do is I find a needle. This is a medium-sized needle. It's not a small needle, but it's a medium-sized needle. And you're looking for something that fits your line diameter. So my needle does. Then the next thing I did was I softened the tip. I actually took the point of this tip off so that it doesn't continually come popping outside the line as I'm trying to feed the line onto the needle. But also, more importantly, from a safety perspective, it's not sharp anymore, so it's not going to poke holes in me while I'm trying to feed this thing in right here on top of my finger. All right, the first thing that we need to do is we need to put this line, right, the end of the line, and I hold it really close and pinch it between my fingernail so that I can roll it into the eye of the needle. This particular line frays pretty easy. And as you can see, it's going out inside and outside the line. So I let it work its way over, find the lines that are through, and then pull it on. It works each way, and then I just kind of roll it back together again, because this part of the line is going to be inside the line anyway, so no worries there. All right, set it up. You can see the marks again. There's the 50 mark, 70 mark, and 100. We're going to go inside right here at the 70 mark. So put that right there on the top of your, I'm right-handed, so that's my left index finger. And I'm going to put this right in there, push down, and then try to slide it in just a little bit. And now I'm going to reposition myself so that my fingers are now kind of pinching the line right in front of the needle to slide onto the needle. You're really not going to be able to push the line into the needle where you're going to be pinching the line and working the line onto the needle. Otherwise, it will pop out just like it just did a lot more often. So working it back and forth, kind of sometimes spinning the line a little bit, pushing that line on. It's going on really well right now. There's the 100 mm mark, what we've just reached. I'm going to go probably 5 or 6 or so millimeters past that, bend the line a little bit, and bring the needle right out through the bottom down there. All right, grab a hold of the bottom, slide it up to where the eye is and that other tail. And then I work the tail all the way down so it's just a couple of millimeters off, and then grab a hold of that and then push that line up there, and it kind of locks that in right there. Now, I use a pair of pliers to grab a hold of the end of my needle because it does take a bit of pressure. You'll squeeze here and you'll rotate back and forth and pull that line down inside. There it goes. That's inside now. And you just keep working the line up the needle, pull a little bit. You don't want to pull too hard because it will pull that line and that loop all the way down inside. So there it goes, and it just popped off. So take your needle, set it aside. There's the loop. There's the 50 mm mark right there, which we want back up to the top center. I'm just holding light pressure here and pulling the open end so that loop comes back up. And then what happens, what you'll see is the 30 and 70 mm marks will line up right here. And that gives you your 20 mm loop. And then all you're going to do now is you're going to work the line back, rotate it so that the weave sets itself back down again, rotate it, just working that line back down again, and the tail has completely disappeared inside. You now have a nice 20 mm loop for your RC Skydiver. The last thing I do is lock this loop in place with a little bit of thin CA. Right from where it went into my 100 mm mark, I'll go about 5 to 10 millimeters back and put a little dab of thin CA. Really small amount. You do not want to drip it on because it'll wick all the way up and down the line and give you a really stiff line. It's not good. So just pick it up and just wick it in just a little bit, lock it in, and it'll give you a nice 20 millimeter line. That's it, guys. I hope that helps. This is the scale I used, and I found this to be the best for the parachutes and skydivers that I work with. Hope that helps. Have a great night. Bye-bye.